another episode of Home Sweet Home. My name is Rod McCall.
And I'm Scott Nichols.
Hey, what's
Welcome
up, man?
Back. It's another beautiful day here in Texas. So,
well, we do get a lot of sunshiny days.
Yeah.
In fact, that's what I love about being here, is the sunshine. I do not do well. When I lived in Pennsylvania, we would get weather that would be, and Happy Valley, where Penn State is at, you got these, well, they call them mountains. I just call them really tall hills. But the weather would come in, clouds would come in,
Sure.
And they would be there for weeks.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize just how moody I was and everybody else was until the sun came out. And we get a couple of days of sunshine, and amazing how happy and congenial everybody was, which reinforced I don't think I would do well in Portland or Seattle.
Well, I have spent in the last month some time in Boston and in Texas and in Southern California. So,
okay.
It's
you lucky bugger.
Getting around just a little bit, experiencing everything from snow to Southern California sun. So,
okay.
Well, fun times getting to travel a little bit. So,
well, I look forward to when we get to do that.
You are headed out for a nice vacation this summer, right?
Yeah, Hawaii, here we come.
Right. Doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah.
Are you going to drive those little cars underwater?
I don't know. At this point, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Just because, my gosh, the excursions are through the roof.
Oh, yeah. Well, everything's expensive, right?
Everything but my paycheck.
Hey, you only live once.
True.
Right.
Yeah. What is it? YOLO?
Yeah.
So that's why we're going Hawaii now.
That's what the cool kids say now.
Yeah.
YOLO.
Okay. All right. I'm not real up on all the hip lingo for the young kids that we teach.
Oh, come on. I mean, you got to get into what it all means, right? So that you can have a conversation with them, or at least read their papers, right?
Well, yeah, when you can read it at all.
So hey, last time we were talking about foods. And
yes.
And foods affecting your mood and things like that. And I think we kind of closed out with this thing on like depression.
Yeah.
And that foods could. I mean, I've always felt like foods made me feel better.
Yeah.
Not,
worse.
Take me into depression. But apparently there's some science behind this metabolic stuff that takes place, or whatever all that is. I'm a historian, not
a
scientist. So, whatever all that is, it seems to affect our brains in a way that leads us down this path towards depression.
And you're absolutely right.
And I'd like to hear more about that.
Okay, well, so did what you had suggested and did a little bit of checking around, and I think, well, some of it came from some suggestions you had provided as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so I found a website, well, it's psychcentral.com. And I've used them in the past for other stuff, and they had an interesting, I had some information on foods that can cause depression. And I found another website that was kind of backed up what they were saying as well. This website called The Inventory, which they do all kinds of stuff on, like best deals from Amazon,
sure,
or tech stuff, lifestyle, home goods, all kinds of stuff. And so I felt like, okay, maybe we're on to something with this.
Okay.
All right. So some of the things they say that can really have a negative impact on our mood and on our feelings of happiness or sadness. And the ones that they talked about fast food.
Oh, yeah.
Alcohol, which I knew, because alcohol is a depressant.
Yes.
Which not a lot of people know, but when you're feeling depressed, you go out and you get drunk. Well, that's just adding fuel to the fire. Energy drinks, which everybody, my Lord, the number of kids that come in sucking down monsters,
Mm-hmm.
or other kinds of stuff. Even my nephew, he's a sophomore in high school, and he loves his monsters.
Yeah.
But these were specifically identified. I mean, they had some other stuff too, out there that, and again, they mentioned sugar, refined sugar, as a contributor. They mentioned artificial sweeteners.
We were talking about that last time.
Yeah, which I thought was okay. Maybe we're onto something here. They even talked about processed meats, which I have to say that I actually moved away. Because I bring I'd make me a sandwich, and I would, just, the processed ham and turkey, and
Sure.
ta-da. Well, I was noticing, I'd read something or heard something before about how the processed meats are not as good for you. So it's been costing me a little bit more money, but I've been going to the deli and saying, hey, I need a half a pound, 3/4 pound sliced this or that. Well, we got H-E-B now, up here in North Texas. And so H-E-B actually sells it already pre-sliced from the deli in pre-packaged. You don't have to stand in the deli line.
Right.
And so I started with that, and now whenever we go to the different stores, I just go up to the deli counter and I said, okay, I need a half, like I said, half, 3/4 pounds of this, that, or whatever. And so
I noticed that too. Walmart even has pre-sliced stuff from the deli out in packages already, in half pound or 1 pound packages. And you can just pick it up, so you don't have to wait in line, which is great.
Yeah,
Kroger does that too. I've been in some other states, but I haven't perused the grocery stores. But I'll tell you, I've been creating recipes at home that are from all natural ingredients, right? And so I have frequented the meat counter in my store more often to get. If my recipe is a steak recipe, like today, I'm actually making a recipe for that is a garlic pepper steak.
Ooh, yeah.
And so it's really good.
What time's dinner?
Probably midnight.
Okay, I get the point. Not invited. I understand.
No.
Okay.
Another event taking place. I can actually talk about it later. But anyway, I'm making this meal as a part of another meal, and I'm doing it on purpose because I want some protein in my diet. But this meal requires me to pick up, a real steak.
Yeah.
And it's more expensive, yes. But here's the thing. I end up eating less.
Okay.
And so I can save those meals. I can store them up and eat them for lunches.
Okay.
And I end up overall in the week spending less money by buying better foods that are more expensive than the junk food stuff that I would buy. But ultimately I'm saving money because I'm not eating as much. I feel full.
Okay.
And I feel better.
Well, then that reinforces your own personal experience with that. Because I try and cook, but the days I get home at 4 makes it easy to cook.
Sure.
The days that I don't get home till 5:30, 5:45 makes it real hard, especially when people at our house, 5 o'clock, where's meal? 5 o'clock, where's meal? It's kind of hard when you get home at 5:30, 5:45 to be able to have everybody fed between 5 and 5:30. So
it is difficult. I mean, I like to eat by 7.
Okay. And so Sherry's been stepping up and she's been helping out, and she tries to cover those days and I try and cover the other days so that at least a number of the days, most of the days, not all 7 days, but at least 5 of the 7 days, we will have a home cooked meal.
Sure.
And it's a lot of work. It's a lot, man, I better understand my mom when she would say, what do you want for dinner?
Mm-hmm.
Because if somebody tells you what they want, boom, man, you're right there. But if you're sitting there constantly trying to figure out what you're going to have, then it makes it really tough. And I mean, I do good. Wow. Poor grammar right there. Okay. Good thing I don't teach English, but I try to do better at is when we go grocery shopping, think, okay, what do I want this week? I don't know that I
Yes.
do meal plan like Mondays this, Tuesdays this, Wednesdays that, but I'll try and figure out, okay, what do I want this week?
Yes.
And I get tired of having the same stuff all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I like a lot of variety, but variety requires a lot of thought process. So,
This is where I am glad I have social media.
oh, yes.
So
I use a lot of
I
that.
hate social media for a lot of reasons. But I really love it when I find something that I can do with it that's going to benefit me.
Yeah.
And one of those things is recipes.
Uh-huh.
And I have found, a couple of different people on Facebook that produce recipes. This is what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And I have, I've become like what they call them, like top fans.
Okay.
I've become top fan on at least one of them. But this guy produces recipes that are high protein.
Mm-hmm.
They, net protein recipes, so they're for weight loss, and they are just good. And this pepper steak one, this garlic pepper steak, is one of those things.
Okay.
And so, but he's got fish, he's got steak, he's got chicken, he's got turkey, he's got, all kinds of things for these recipes, and I find them to be pretty easy to make. Like, you can make it in a half an hour if you have all the ingredients.
Right.
So, we buy all our stuff on a Friday, and
sure,
and inevitably you get more ingredients than you need for that one meal.
Sure.
So, you again, it comes down to, I'm actually saving money.
Well, yes, because you're right. The leftovers, I'll eat leftovers. That
we also only have to make about 3 meals a week because we store the leftovers, so we can, for the next couple of days, if you're okay with eating the same thing a couple of days in a row, then you can do that.
Or you have leftover day,
or you have lunches, or whatever it might be. So, but you get better ingredients and better foods.
Well, and that's kind of where this article is talking about. It is easy for us with a super fast-paced and busy schedule, especially if you got like young kids at home.
Oh yeah.
We got coworkers that they're all over. Going here, there, and everywhere. And the times I sometimes feel I don't even have that kind of an issue, but I find I'm the old Dunkin' Donuts commercial. Time to make the donuts. Oh, already made the donuts. Anyway, I guess that's an old commercial you got to remember to know.
But, I remember it.
Okay, so what they're saying is that a lot of times, because, again, fast food is convenient, but it's filled with a lot of really crappy stuff, like artificial trans fats, refined carbs, lots of sodium, lots of sugar, and these lead to us feeling depressed. In fact, they said that there was a 40% greater risk of developing or having depressive type symptoms. And so they're saying exactly what you're saying, little prior planning, and you can make meals. Granted, I do a lot of stuff, like on Saturdays or Sundays, and I'll meal prep, or at least when we go grocery shopping, I'll plan ahead, and we do this on the weekends, and I'll try and make, good meals on Saturdays and Sundays, so that way I've got a little something, some good starts.
Right.
And invariably we always do have one day through the week that is leftover night.
Sure.
So, but that's kind of to build on what you were just saying, to move away from fast food, make these meals and get away from, if you want burgers and fries, make burgers and fries at home.
Yes. And that's the thing, right? That's not bad.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of people have those air fryers and things like that. I
do.
That is a way to go. I think that the key, right, is to find something that you like. And that's what I did with this one particular recipe producer.
Mm-hmm.
He produces a lot of recipes that I've tried and I enjoy, so I save them.
Okay.
And they're free for me to get them. So I save them, and I've had to do some things like I had to get a scale that can weigh grams or something, because he's from the United Kingdom.
Yeah.
And the rest of the world uses a measurement system that makes sense.
Yes.
We like the imperial system, so it's a little bit different, but But if you find something that you like, or a set of recipes that you like, it probably only takes about 30 minutes to make it.
But most of the stuff that I've run across doing, like what you're saying, does 30
and
minutes.
Even if you had to do some prep beforehand, maybe in the morning you put some stuff together and marinate a meat and then you stick it in the fridge.
Yeah.
Then when you get home, you can finish the rest of the recipe, and it speeds up the process, and it tastes better because it was marinated. Right?
Yes.
But what I found is that it's so much better to have those ingredients that exactly what's going in it, and it just tastes so much better. It feels better afterwards, and with just a little bit of effort. I mean, it probably takes the same amount of time to order on DoorDash and then sit on the couch and wait for your doorbell to ring.
Yeah, well, the average delivery time for pizza around my neighborhood is 45 minutes.
Right. So in 30 minutes, I could have a meal if I had already bought the ingredients. Right. I can have a meal right ready before DoorDash can even get there.
Well,
or Domino's or whoever it is.
So you're right. Prior planning prevents pretty poor performance.
You're always saying that.
So another thing that they're talking about is refined grains. Okay, and when they're talking, I mean, I'm a meat and potato guy, and I love mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
And I will admit that I am really lazy, and so I will buy the instant mashed potatoes. In fact, I used to have it so often that Eric can come with me to Thanksgiving at my mom and dad's. And my mom was peeling potatoes and all of that. And he says, well Grandma Coffee, because they drink so much coffee that he called them Grandma and Grandpa Coffee. But he said, well, Grandma Coffee, what are you doing? And she says, well, we're making mashed potatoes. And he goes, Grandma Coffee, that's not mashed potatoes. Mashed potatoes come from a box. So I realized.
I know who did its job in your family.
Yes. And so they're saying that that's good, and, instant rice, instant minute rice, these things are good and they're tasty, but they're saying that's not necessarily good for you.
Sure.
We down here in Texas got to have Mrs. Baird's, bread. And, and what's funny is that calorie wise, Mrs. Baird's is less calories per slice than some of the multigrains. Sure. But what they're saying is that's actually not good. That's not what you should be doing. That if you can do brown rice instead of white rice and use multigrain bread instead of white bread, that it might be a few more calories, but the overall better benefits of less sugar, less refinement into your foods can actually be better for your health. And in fact, they were talking. And again, another study, God bless these studies, they had done a research study with over 1,600 adults. And in there, they were, who had more refined grains versus more unrefined grains. And they found that in these 1,600 people that they used in their study, boom, the more that had the unrefined grains had way significantly lower depressive symptoms.
Oh, wow.
So I don't know that white bread causes depression, but it can be a contributor.
So here's one of the things that I just metabolically that I know about this.
Okay.
Is that whole grains take longer to process in your stomach.
I've heard that.
And so, you're full longer.
Okay.
And your digestive system works longer, and you kind of burn more calories because of that and things like that. So it's allowing your body to process better. If you use lots of processed stuff, right, which basically is relieving the body of having to process it so much,
right,
it just flows through your system, and you don't really get
like crap through a goose kind of thing.
Yeah, it's just if you have to go to the doctor and you're gonna need to do a urine test, you drink a Diet Coke real quick, 3 minutes before you got to do it, right? Because that stuff's going through you like crazy.
Okay.
Right? Or there's certain foods you've probably had before that you're like, that goes through me like
Yeah.
fast, right?
Yeah.
I love Chinese food. I eat Chinese food, and 30 minutes later, I'm starving.
Yes.
And so, but you have.
I was told that's why Godzilla.
I mean, when I say that, I'm meaning American Chinese food.
Yes,
right?
yes.
I know we have some people who listen from all over the world, so
That is true. That is true. American versions.
But you if you're putting stuff into your stomach that's going to take longer to digest, you're going to be full longer, and you're going to eat less.
Okay.
So that's one of those things that kind of relates back to the previous episode that we had, right? You want to be able to not just like load up to the point where and then you didn't know you were full and just keep eating.
Okay.
If you eat more proteins, if you eat more whole grains, if you eat less processed stuff, and white bread is more processed.
Yes.
Then and white grain rice is more processed than the brown rice. And there's certainly other better good things. I mean, jasmine rice is something I like to eat.
I love jasmine rice.
There's good things about it, but also you want to stay away from things like minute rice, right?
Yeah.
Or something that those ones that are like 5 minutes it'll be ready.
Okay.
So what I did was I bought a rice cooker.
See, I need to buy one.
I got a nice small one.
Okay.
It makes about 3 cups of rice.
Okay. Yeah.
And it takes about 30 minutes, right? So while I'm cooking the rest of my meal.
So you start that first?
Yeah.
Okay.
While I'm cooking the rest of my meal. And it all times out just right, so it's done at the same time.
Okay.
And it's so easy. Just do water and rice, and you turn it on.
Ta-da.
And it does it on its own. So, I think we have excuses for we can't do this.
Okay.
And I had it for years. I don't have time. Let's just get a pizza. Right? I don't have time. Let's go out to eat.
Yeah.
I don't have time. I'll just pick up McDonald's on the way home.
Yeah.
And there's time and place, certainly for that.
Right.
I mean, occasionally I have a pizza. It is easier. It tastes good. I like it.
Yeah.
Right. But I mean, moderation on it.
Well, and I think that's kind of at the end of the day what all this whole thing about food and depression or food and mood issues comes into play, because to tie in with what you're saying about the whole grains, they're talking here when I go to the inventory.com, they're talking about eat a lot of lean kinds of meats, chicken, fish, turkey. They were even saying now. You always hear about, turkey and Thanksgiving, the tryptophan that makes you fall asleep. They're actually saying that it actually can contribute. It can release serotonin in your brain, making you actually feel happy.
Right.
So these are kinds of things, antioxidant-rich foods like broccoli, blueberries, peppers, vegetables, or spinach, vegetable oils can be really good, which I do. I bring broccoli. I dip it in my little what do you call it? Southwest Ranch. But I do.
You might want to find something else to dip it in.
Okay, fair enough. But I do that. And so, I mean, even stuff, these kinds of things they're also good in vitamin C, vitamin E, those kinds of things.
Yes.
And when you're talking about, different breads, like complex carbohydrates, they say they are, again, it's dealing with serotonin, that these complex carbohydrates, like various fruits and vegetables, like an apple, orange, a banana, or, again, various types of vegetables. I like broccoli and cauliflower.
Yeah, I do too.
Carrots, celery.
Now, when I was 8 years old, I didn't like it.
No.
Right, but
what the article was saying is that these kinds of things can release, again, serotonin, which makes you happy rather than sad.
See, that's the thing, right? Like I have noticed, because I've been doing these meals that I talk about since I don't know, probably about 3 months.
Okay.
And during that time, I have noticed that I sleep better.
Okay.
I feel better.
Okay.
All day long. I have more focus.
Okay.
I feel better about my job.
True.
I feel like I'm more productive, right?
Yeah.
And this leads me to that I just overall feel better. If I go back to before the 3 months, I didn't feel like getting up. I didn't feel
Okay.
like going to work. I didn't, I would say, looking back, I was probably depressed.
Okay.
But I've changed my food intake,
Huh.
and it has changed a lot of things for me,
Okay.
including dropping weight.
Well, and that's always a positive, which you talk about sleeping better. Well, why do people take energy drinks? Well,
I have no idea.
honest to God, I've never had one. All right. I have
I mean,
never had one.
To be fair, I drink coffee,
Okay, but
which
that's
is
more
kind of an energy drink. But
true, but they say that's more natural. But
sure.
they've got all those, monsters and 5 minute energy drinks and stuff like that.
See, I'm just like, if it's called Monster, why am I drinking it? I don't want to be one.
Well, because the idea is it's going to wake you up.
Sure.
And so they're saying that, we all have those rough nights where we don't sleep. All right.
Right.
Whatever it might be. There's 1,000 reasons it can cause you to have a bad night's sleep. So I think there's a difference maybe between once in a while and all the time. But I've got kids that come in every day and with their energy drink. And then, of course, I tell them you can't have a pop top in my class because it'll spill.
Right.
So they're chugging it real fast before I let them in. Though sometimes I'll tell them they'll go set it on the windowsill instead. And then I tell them they can pick it up on their way out.
And then they leave it there.
Gosh, yes. I've thrown away probably a dozen over the last few months.
Well, you're probably helping them out.
Maybe so. Because they're saying here that these energy drinks, they overflood us with caffeine and sugar, and as a consequence, then the letdown when you kind of you're going to collapse. What do they call it? The collapse.
Yeah.
Because it boosts you so high that when you fall, kaplowing. And they're saying that by doing so, it creates actually higher levels of stress.
Yes.
And when they did a study that included men, they said it also increased symptoms of depression.
Right.
And they're saying that although studies have found drinking coffee can potentially lower depression risk, too much caffeine during the day can create a wide variety of sleep disruptions.
Sure.
Because your body can't. That's why I try and drink, when I do drink my soda, it's in the mornings.
Yes.
I'll drink my Dr. Pepper diet in the morning. And then, but that's it. I don't have it in the afternoon. I don't have it in the evening because I have noticed that if I do drink it, anything really past noon, then it makes it harder for me to sleep and sleep well that night. And so that's why they're saying don't do that. I mean, there's so many other things you can do.
Right.
Like you're saying, drinking coffee. The number of kids that come in with Starbucks. Though I don't know that really, is it truly coffee or is it coffee flavored cream and other
It's a dessert, right? Just like the last time you were talking about the yogurt that's got sugar in it. It's really a dessert, right?
The added sugar stuff. So anyway, they're saying, try, there's so many other things. Like I drink tea.
Yeah.
I'll drink tea or, because that's got your natural caffeine. I can drink unsweet iced tea. I don't need sugar in it because they tell me I'm sweet enough.
Who tells you that?
Nobody, but I say it. So anyway.
Hopefully your wife's telling you that.
She might. Anyway, but then they're saying, you can nibble, they're even saying dark chocolate.
Sure.
That can kind of help give you some of that natural caffeine through natural foods without all the added, because again, yes, you get that boost, but when it wears off and you fall, then that collapse is way worse.
Again, we're back to that example I was giving you, because like dark chocolate that you mentioned is actually good, even if you're, I should say for me, it's had a positive effect.
Okay.
I can eat dark chocolate even as a diabetes type 2 patient, and I've got a continuous glucose monitor, so I can tell what it does. You don't need a lot of it, but I can eat some. It'll give me that boost if I need a sugar boost. But it's actually good for you because it takes longer to process, right? The digestive system takes longer to process dark chocolate than it does milk chocolate.
I keep hearing that, but
and
God,
so
it tastes so
it's the same thing, right? It's again just like protein versus something else. If you're going to have an energy drink, it's going to go through you, and you're going to have that withdrawal really fast.
Okay.
If you eat something like a dark chocolate, you're not. It's going to last, have an effect a lot longer, and your digestive system gets to work properly that way. So, if we make our body work properly, we're going to feel better.
And I think that is kind of the whole point of, again, these foods that can cause depression. And I totally, absolutely, I do agree. And I think that when, you look at a lot of the diets that you want, whether it's the South Beach diet, the Mediterranean diet, the keto diet, the, what's his name? The old guy, the Atkins diet. I mean, a lot of these
seafood diet.
That's what I've been on.
Should we stay away from?
Well, I've been on the seafood diet, and well, nobody can see me, but anybody that knows me knows that it hasn't been working quite so well. But a lot of these other diets do have a blend. They might be a little heavy over here or a little heavy over there on certain things, but they're all saying balance.
Right.
Have a balance. And not only will it improve your weight loss, but it'll improve your gut, which then I think between the, stuff we talked about last time, stuff this time, because all these news or all these articles are saying kind of the same thing, that if you take care of your gut will take care of you, and then you're sleeping better, you're feeling better, and you're happier, and you're able to fight off all of the, the issues of stress, the issues of depression, the issues of anxiety that just bombard us all the time.
So I mean, for me, if I'm thinking like, what am I going to do? Like, based on all this information we're talking about, like, what should I do? I'm thinking I need not necessarily go, wholesale on any particular diet program that's out there.
Okay.
But I need to eat healthier, which means I need to choose ingredients, and I need to try to stay away from processed and fast foods.
And I think, yeah. And I mean, because that's what they're saying. Stay away from that. Eat, more fish, more chicken, more turkey, which are lower fats, higher proteins, more vegetables.
Yeah.
Which, Mom always said, eat your vegetables.
But then the next thing is don't eat too much. So, and the reason we eat too much, I think so much, is because we're distracted when we eat. So if you're at work and eating lunch, don't work and eat lunch at the same time.
Oh, crap, I do.
Try to sit with other people and have a conversation and eat your lunch slowly. Or at home, sit at the dinner table with no television and talk to somebody.
We can try that.
If you don't have somebody to, if you live alone, listen to a radio program.
Listen to us.
And not watch TV, but just listen to something, right?
Yeah.
And that'll get you thinking about things. Or maybe even if you just, put on a call to somebody and just talk to another person from somewhere else while you eat. But, I mean, sometimes that'll work. But do something to make it so that you're not distracted while you're eating with a visual thing or something that's going to make you just kind of lose yourself in some binge thing on TV, right?
That makes good sense. My stepdaughter's been on Sherry and I for a long time now. Why don't we sit at the table?
Yeah.
We got a table. Might as well use it.
I think that's a key. That's a key. All these things are great. But natural ingredients, try to, as much as you can, make stuff from fresh ingredients and eat undistracted and eat less.
Well, we can try that. I'm really hungry.
I'm going to keep trying.
You want to go get something to eat?
Probably, yeah.
Jersey Mike's?
I was thinking I was thinking along the lines of something Mexican.
Ooh, that does sound yummy. All right, well, we can figure that out later. So until next time, I'm Rod.
And I'm Scott.
Stay healthy.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye-bye.